Hello from Squamish. We left the island a week ago, and I spent a day here in Squamish at the mechanic, and then I drove 4 days to the Kootenays and back. And then we got settled in here last night at the campground, which is now open, which is really nice because I have a lot of chores to do today to take advantage of this dry weather before it starts raining again. I gotta do a tune-up. I gotta just do some regular sort of spring tasks in terms of mold prevention and moisture management, and yeah, just getting ready to get on the road for the summer to leave Southwest BC. So yeah, I needed space to like take apart some parts of my van. So and then yeah, Frank can just hang around outside in his chariot. He enjoyed some sun earlier, but unfortunately the time for sun on our site has now passed. It's great to see him having such a good time. He really enjoys going for a stroll around the campground, which we've already done, and chasing a squirrel, which made me really happy. So yeah, I'm just gonna kick back, enjoy this coffee with Frank, and then get to work. So I'm currently cleaning out everything that's in the front of the van that's not fixed in, like the seats. Everything has to go out because the other day I had a bit of a catastrophe. Honestly, it's like a van lifer's worst nightmare. I went to my storage locker and the ground is like really sloped, so I was parked on the side and this passenger side of the van was lower, and I opened the side doors and there was water coming out from under my floor and running down onto the ground, and yeah, it was bad. It was really bad, and you know, I have worked very hard in building this to manage mold and moisture. Like, that was the primary design of my van, was to avoid mold from condensation, and it's done a great job. Even when I didn't have heat, I've never had a roof vent, and still I've had almost no mold. Any mold I've had has just been like a little area and really, really easy to deal with and non-consequential. And yeah, so to have water running out from under my floor, like running, dripping, was mortifying. And so two of the ways I thought it might have come in is actually between this driver and passenger seat. There was a hole in the floor, so I thought, okay, be splashing up from the road and like slowly going back and then collecting, and then parked at the slope, and water runs out. The other thing is that I recently learned when I got a new windshield is how the body panels of this van are put together, and it's entirely possible that like the silicone and stuff like in the roof, where the roof panel and the sidewall panel come over each other, like the seal for that has like cracked, and then water's like going in down the backside of my wall and then under my floor and then has come out. And so I was really worried that it was one of those two situations, especially coming in from the roof, because like that would be a complete gutting of my van to deal with that. There was no like getting in behind the walls without taking out everything I own and everything I've built. And then I discovered my large water bladder had somehow come open. It's 10 liters, and I estimate about 5 of it had come out, gone down, and run down. So thankfully there is that hole in the floor between the driver's and passenger seat, because I think a lot of the water just went out through that. And then a lot came out the side door, and that was just a complete accident that came open. There was a little bit of stuff on top of it, but actually in the past couple of weeks, Frank's decided he was going to start stepping on it. So, I mean, I'm not upset at him at all. He hasn't done anything wrong. And yeah, it's just really disappointing to have an accident like this about 7.5 years into this build. And, you know, I've had enough seasons to prove that my build was really good for managing mold and moisture. I mean, like the ceiling panels, the wood was tight when I put it in, but then I went to the desert, it dried, and so they've opened up, so I can actually see the vapor barrier. I can see what's going on behind it, and there's never any condensation on my roof ever. Like, the roof is completely dry 100% of the time, which feels really good. So that gives me a lot of trust for the walls, which I did in the same fashion as well as the floor, except for now that there's definitely got some water under the floor. But none of it will be touching the wood, which is, I guess, good. It's just metal and insulation board, but that can still get moldy. So that's my biggest concern with that. But at this point, doing a complete rebuild is not a desire or an option. And among my chores today is to get my curtain situation under control. So I'm actually gonna take them out and just allow for greater airflow, since today is really like the only guaranteed dry sunny day, like that's pretty warm, that I have before I depart the south. So I have to take advantage of it, and as much as I would like to go hiking or do other things, van life requires I do this. Ooh, oh! I have been looking for this for months. It definitely has a little bit of mold on it. Mildew. That's fine. That'll be easy to clean. What the heck is this? Real quick, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, who is AG1. AG1 is a foundational nutritional supplement that's become a very tasty part of my daily routine because I notice the benefits when I drink AG1, most notably better energy and clarity and mental focus, which really helps me through big days like today when I'm working on my van. It also feels great knowing that every single serving of AG1 contains over 75 vitamins and minerals and whole foods sourced ingredients such as stress adaptogens, pre and probiotics to support your gut health, antioxidants, superfoods, and digestive support. Ingredients such as zinc and citrus bioflavonoids help support the immune defenses of the body, and the pre and probiotics help diversify your gut microbiome. So you're not just supporting your body's digestion, but you're also helping your body make better use of all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients within AG1. The team at AG1 has done over 50 different revisions to keep making this product the best it can possibly be in order to support whole body health, including gut, brain, and immune system. AG1 has been a really welcome addition to my life. I intend to keep around for years to come because it is just a really easy part of my morning routine. And if you'd like to give it a try, you can go to the link in the description down below or scan the QR code on the screen. And when you do that, you're going to get a year supply of vitamin D3K2 that works really well in tandem with AG1, 5 travel packs, as well as the shaker bottle, canister, and the scoop with your first purchase of AG1. So once again, the link for that is in the description below to get that great starter bundle, or you can scan the QR code on the screen with your phone if you're watching from a TV, or you can screenshot and then long hold the QR code in the picture to take you over to AG1 to get started. So thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring this video, and let's make lunch. So I got all the doors open for good airflow and everything I intend to take out of my van. That includes everything in the front as well as the garage, because I feared there was mold in there, and I was absolutely correct. So I have a lot to do now. And I decided that before I start and potentially get frustrated with things that I should eat. So I'm going to make a big lunch because then once I continue on, I will be go, go, go until I run out of light to do things. So I'm going to, while I make food, think about like the order of operations that things need to get done in, what makes the most sense for daylight, as well as, yeah, just different tasks. So I'm pretty committed now. You're so cute, Frank. Thanks for being the supervisor. I'm glad you have your official sort of bow tie on today. Anyone who comes to inspect the job site knows you're in charge. And I was nice to myself and I put the cast iron away very clean, which is good. I got a little bit of rust here. Yeah, it's doing well. I've had this in use for maybe 9 years. I got it when I was living in my minivan in Bishop at the market on, I think it's Westline. Yeah. So I got the peppers and the sweet potato, and I have this plant-based taco stuffer that has come into my possession, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, so suddenly I am way hungrier than I realized. I'm so glad I stopped to make food. Wow, that is really good. That was very low effort. I'm not sure how the ground stuff is seasoned, but I just put salt and garlic on to make sure that it would still all go together. So I'm going to eat half of this now, half for dinner, which is going to be great because by the time it gets dark, I'm going to be really hungry again and not want to put in effort. So that's done. And while I was at my storage locker last week, we were recognized by a viewer, Franny, and she gave this bone for Frank. So I'm going to give him this because as the supervisor on duty today, he deserves to be well compensated for his efforts. He is sleeping right now. It's very cute. He's got his official bow tie on. And yeah, I've decided that I'm going to tackle the mold in the back first because it is the thing I least want to do. And then after I wipe it down, then it will have like the most time to dry out before I start putting stuff back in there. And I'm going to be putting in less stuff so there's some airflow. And then I'll be thinking of like a longer term solution as well as, yeah, I don't know, a bit more investigation to the cause of the moisture. I'm pretty sure it's just that back corner is just a damp spot of my van by the door. But yeah, we'll see. Well, it is less than ideal to find mold anywhere in a van build, but the location is absolutely not surprising because like all the cedar that's down there is mold free, and all the areas of my walls that have thicker insulation or airflow are mold free. And so it's just like this little spot like by the wheel well, which probably gets colder. There's not much airflow down here. This side had just like a tiny bit of mold, but not bad. And I do tend to put a bit less stuff there, whereas this side I cram full, so I won't be doing that again. And yeah, I'm going to be thinking of a long-term solution, but right now I'm going to move on to something more fun and get the tune-up done on the engine. Today I'm just going to do plugs, distributor cap, rotor, air filter, because I did the wires like a year and a half ago. I don't think they're due, but I will inspect them and just be taking a look around the engine just for anything that looks suspicious, like I might need to deal with it. Yeah, that'll be a bit more fun, and then from there I can at least put the doghouse back on and yeah, start cleaning up that front end. And so far, most of the moisture, the water that had spilled, has like dried out. It's actually quite dry. All right, so now that I'm awkwardly in position, I've got my Haynes repair manual, and I'm just gonna check the plug gap so I can make sure that it's correct before I put in new spark plugs. And I did end up with the fancy Iridium most expensive spark plugs, but I got a good deal on them. It was that or the cheapest ones. And I just don't like to put the cheapest parts in when I do a tune-up, because I have found they sometimes don't last until I do a tune-up. So spark plug replacement 126. This thing is so handy. It's so much easier just to reference a book made for my van than to check the internet. This is Chevy and GMC full-size vans 1968 through 1996. If you have any interest in doing your own repairs, I recommend looking for the version for whatever vehicle yours is. And yeah, it comes in handy. You can pretty much walk yourself through anything with these books. I know full well how to do the tune-up. I just forget the plug gap. It's not in spark plug replacement. It might be in, there's like a page that's all the different specifications, torques, and this and that for different parts. So this is going to be a little bit easier today because I'm not doing the wires, so I'll just pull one wire off a plug, change the plug, put it back on. But otherwise, if you're pulling the wires, you want to like get some sort of a system down so that you make sure you get them all in the right firing order, in like from their location on the distributor cap to the correct spark plug. And then what I do when I take all the spark plugs out is I also just inspect them to get an idea of how my engine's running. And yeah, make sure all the cylinders are happy. There is, like you can look up online, there's like charts with pictures of all the spark plugs with different conditions. So you can get clues about your engine, and yeah. It can be quite informative sometimes, actually. Why is that not? That just took me way too long to do one spark plug. I've never had so much trouble with that particular one, or really any of them. There's the cylinder number 1 at the front on the driver's side is sometimes gives me a little bit of a hassle because it's hard to reach and I usually cut myself. With that said, I'm gonna do the other 7 and then pick you up again because I'm already pretty frustrated. There we go. Okay, spark plug's done. The rest of this should be quite a bit easier. Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to get to the wiper issue because that's going to take at least a few hours, and I have about 2 hours left of daylight. So I'm going to just quickly change this air filter while I have the doghouse off. I'm kind of curious to see what it's like after the Dempster last year, but I do wish I had a shop vac. That would make some of this cleaning a lot easier. Ooh. Oh, that's actually not bad. Wow. That's surprising. Yeah, that's really not bad considering how much dusty roads I'm on. Ooh, fancy. Anyways, looks about right. Alright, so I'm going to put the doghouse on and then probably start putting stuff in the back so I can close those doors. And meanwhile, while all this has been going on today, I've been working on moving a whole entire hard drive to another one because it's starting to fail. And yeah, I just want to get on top of that. So it will only allow me to move like one file or folder at a time. Otherwise, it messes up and stops communicating with the computer, so it's a slow, tedious process. I'm moving about 3.5 terabytes, a little bit at a time. So yeah, I'm gonna start cleaning up, I guess, and yeah, hopefully I get another dry day like this while I'm here in Squamish. Tomorrow would be perfect, but I have a bunch of appointments. I have to go to the hospital and stuff, so I'm not stoked on it. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked on what I've accomplished so far today. And yeah, we'll see just what I can get done over the next 2 hours. Before I go any further packing up, I should check one thing. Yay. I wasn't doubting myself, but it's just best to be safer than sorry, especially when it's a lot of stuff that will be in the way of the doghouse pretty soon. I have almost everything cleaned up, at least as much as I will tonight. I'm gonna leave like the front airing out, so I just have the stuff that goes in the middle up on the seats. And I'm so glad that I saved half of this for now, because I'm really hungry. It turns out that today's to-do list was actually 2 days worth of stuff, and I did not get it all done. But at least I know like what I'm dealing with and can have like solutions turning over in my head instead of just like worries about what ifs. So I just stapled up the Velcro that's holding up the curtain because I just put a couple staples in before. I didn't put very many, and they ended up not holding well because the Velcro was stronger than the staples. So hopefully now with like 4 times as many that will hold. But yeah, it feels good to have the curtain back up because it's kind of just like in a fish tank in here without it. You can't really see in the tinted windows with these lights, but the front for sure.